So let's set the scene. It's New Year's Eve 2024. 17-year-old me is living in a supported accommodation. The clock strikes midnight, people cheering, laughing, drinking. What am I doing to celebrate, you might ask? I'm sat at the back door of my house watching the reflection, not the actual things, the reflection of other people's fireworks with a cigarette. That is an accurate representation of 2025 for me. That set me up for the whole year. That start of the year set me up. Hello YouTube, a long time no see. I think it's been like 7 months since my last upload, which is crazy, but a lot has happened since then. Last time you saw me, I was moving into this very flat. I thought a good reintroduction to YouTube, because I want to get back into YouTube videos. I thought a good start off video to do would be a recap of 2025, how my year changed, how it grew, because it changed and grew so much. This is sort of like a get to know me video as well and get to know my past. Anyway, boring intro done over. Let's get into the nitty gritty. We'll be going through each month by month. So starting off with January, we can skip this month. Honestly, nothing happened in this month. I can't remember anything significant happening other than the New Year's happening, and that's like 2024 and 2025 mixed together. Like I had a sticky toffee pudding at like 1 AM on New Year's Day. That's it. We can skip that bit. I'm bunching February and April together, as again, not much happened. It's mainly just cooking pictures from this point. I was cooking homemade meals, living off of savings pretty much as I was unemployed. However, at some point between I think March and April, I'd made the switch to my £1 frozen ready meals. That was a big change for me, because how I'm going from home cooking really good meals, because I was a pretty decent cook, to these £1 frozen ready meals. Like, that's disgusting, that's vile, ew. That was kind of low-key depressing to go from all these nice meals to then just shit. Just shit. Moving on to May, and this is where things start to look up. It's been a recurring theme that May has been the best year of my life for years now. It's my birthday month. It's always been just good vibes. I've always felt the best in myself. And this runs true for May 2025 as well, because May 2025 was such a good month, the best month of the year easily. I turned 18, which is something that I wanted for so long. I mean, I had been waiting and counting down the days to be 18 like for so long. So it was such a comforting moment for me, because I'd always been very independent, lived like an adult, but people still treated me like a child, talked down to me like I was a child, because technically I still was. Now I'm an adult, a grown adult in the law's eyes, and I will not be spoken down to now. And no one has really spoken down to me. I need to stop touching my hair. I'm so bad for it. I just like to do a lot with my hands when I talk, and stroking my hair is just, oh, steady on kill. Stroking my hair is just something I need to do, but I need to stop doing that. Saying that as I'm touching my hair is crazy. For my birthday, I went out for a lovely meal. Food was pretty shit, but the aesthetics and the cocktails were so good. The pictures that I got that day, I overused them to the ground. You know when you take a really good picture or really good pictures and you just use them, it's all of a sudden your new profile picture on all your dating profiles. Literally, it's everywhere. I should have got that framed. Like, I loved those pictures so much, and I buried them. Like, I overused them to the point that they were dead. I went with 2 support workers at the time. Now, I'll explain a bit about supported accommodation for those who don't know. It's essentially like, it's a space for like 16 to 17-year-olds. It can be used for older people, but it's typically for teenagers. Essentially, you are semi-independent, but you also have staff there. However, I was sort of like an exception in that degree, if you want to say. Like, I was always very independent. The staff weren't really at my house, to be honest. Like, they were there to do paperwork when it was quiet, because I was very independent. I did my own thing. I didn't really need any support from them, so they were over supporting other properties in the area. But I went with 2 support workers and one that I still speak to this day, and honestly, I want to say, Katie, if you're watching, thank you so much, because I don't know how I would have survived those first few months without you. That was such a tough time of my life. You really helped me so much, and I will always thank you for that. 13th of May, my birthday, and we went out for a meal. 14th of May, I go on my first solo trip. I spend the night away solo in Manchester, and I booked this a few months ago, but I went to see the cancelled Podcast International Tour with Tana Mojo and Brooke Schofield, and I had the best time. I have watched Tana Mojo since a young person. You might see some similarities in some of the, like, my sayings, and similar, not similar personalities, but similar, like, you can see I watched her, if you know what I mean. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? Manchester is the city that I decided I wanted to live in September 2024. Being there solo, being 18, so I had my first legal clubbing experience that night as well. I met good people. I don't speak to any of them today, but I met people that I, you know, really vibed with, and I just had such a good night, and it was such a freeing experience for me. And I was like, no, I need to go to Manchester like as soon as possible. So in this month, I decided that I was going to move to Manchester. I wanted to go in 2025. Spoiler alert, I didn't, because I'm here now, still in Cheshire. Got a few interviews for Manchester, but it turned out that they were actually pyramid schemes. But you know what the gag is that I didn't even get these pyramid scheme jobs. I wasn't even good enough for a pyramid scheme, but I'm looking back on that and I'm taking that as a compliment. You thought I was too smart to trick into your sales pyramid scheme. I'm going to take that as a compliment. Now, on my 18th birthday, on the 13th of May, I got offered this flat, and I was sort of in a position where I was like, oh, I really want to go to Manchester, but I've been offered this flat. What do I do? Do I reject this flat and really push for Manchester, or do I take the safe option out, go here and then move to Manchester at another level of time in my life? And I chose, spoiler alert, the safer option. But at that time I was really conflicted. I felt that a lot was changing. I just turned an adult, which, although that was something I was wanting for so long, it was new to me and everything had just changed in myself. Like, I know that a lot of people probably turn 18 and they're quite underwhelmed and they're like, oh well, it's still the same. But for me, it was very liberating, because like I said, this had been something that I'd wanted and craved for years and years and years. I'd always been maturer from a young age, but being 18 is something that I really just wanted. It was a really pivotal moment for me. Yes, in the end, I chose the safer option, and I don't regret it. I don't really believe too much in regrets, because I think everything happens for a reason. Just because I took the safer option, like I can say now, sat here on February 2026, I would be so much happier in Manchester. But we're going to talk about the future of 2026 in another video. On my birthday, I decided that I was going to post social media content. Now, I had done TikToks when I was like 15, and I'm using a Revolution brush, and I'm literally just gonna brush it onto my face. I'd always kind of wanted to be like an influencer content creator. I did them and they did pretty decent for someone who, like, I got like a couple of 100 likes, and that was amazing to me at the time. I stopped it for multiple different reasons. On my 18th birthday, I decided I love to film content. I am going to do it. So I filmed my first ever YouTube video of me going to the tour, and I did a vlog that's still up. Hello. This is my first time doing a YouTube vlog, and I'm very excited. That decision was really pivotal for my life, and we'll find out later in the next couple of months why it was so important that I decided, fuck it, I'm gonna film a video, I'm gonna do it. I don't care what people say, I don't care what people think, I don't care if people think I'm embarrassing. I don't care. I'm going to do it because I enjoy it, and that was the best decision I made that year. By the end of May, I took my driving test and I failed, which was a shame because May was going really well, and that was a really shit way to end it, and I failed on a forward bay park, which was my worst manoeuvre. Not that I could afford a car then or now, however, it just would have been nice to have the pink license and just be able to drive. Now we go into June, and at this point I'd accepted that I was not moving to Manchester, so I moved in here. However, before I did, when you are a care leaver, you get a thing called a PA, and this is a personal advisor, and essentially it's kind of like a social worker, but not really, and they're there to assist you. I'm not sure what they actually do, to be honest, because I didn't need that level of support. I do know is as a care leaver, you were entitled to, I think it was £3,000, and I can't remember if it was £3,000, but I think it was something around £3,000 grant for white goods and furniture. However, this caused a lot of drama. I'm very good at budgeting, always have been very good at budgeting. I went through the whole budget and basically worked out all the stuff that I needed, and I sent it over, and they just kept having issues and issues and issues. It made me try and choose between a coffee table and a bedside table, and I was like, what? Why is it a choice? This is my money. What else am I going to use it on? Oh, there's a bit of fluff. Oh, what else am I going to use it on? I won a lot of those arguments. Well, I'm not going to say won, it wasn't a game, but I got all the stuff that I wanted, except from the damn dryer. That went on for so long, to the point I had to order it myself. The date was booked for me to move into my flat, and to my knowledge, I was getting a bit concerned because the PAs hadn't said that they'd ordered my stuff yet. So I ordered my own mattress, my own dryer, and a couple of other bits, like my own kettle, toaster, microwave. Thank God I did. When I moved in with only the things that I had bought and brought. Bearing in mind, I had moved in alone by this point now. The only support I had was people helping my stuff into the living room and the flat. After that, I had no one, so I didn't speak to any of my family. I had no friends. I was genuinely and completely alone. That was the first time in my life, and I remember I was sat there. I did do a moving in vlog, but at one point I was sat there off camera and it was quiet, dead silent, and not my first time being home alone at all, not even close to it. But it was like, shit, this is the new norm now. It is going to be silent. I always wanted to live alone as well. I've always hated to live with people, and I can say now that I love living alone, but at that time it was sort of scary because it was like being around people. As all I've known, I've only lived with people, and I've lived with strangers, and I've lived with so many different people. This is weird to me. So all the stuff like the sofa, the flooring, the fridge, everything wasn't actually ordered until like, I don't even know how long after I'd moved it in, but in the end everything came except the fridge and the oven. I did not get a fridge or an oven till July. This was hell. Thankfully, I bought myself a kettle, a toaster and a microwave so I could do things like Nutella and toast and soups and noodles. But it was so frustrating not to have an oven or a fridge. A fridge especially. I could have lived without the oven. Having no fridge is so shit. So shit. As you can imagine, it meant that I couldn't have butter. I couldn't have milk. I couldn't have so much shit. I couldn't even buy ready meals and shit like that. I didn't have a freezer. I also brought an air fryer with me as well. So if I had a fridge and freezer, I wouldn't have been that fucked about the oven. But because I went without a fridge or an oven for so long, like my meals were shit and I wasn't eating as well as I would as well. And I was really, really budgeting at this point, really honed down on my budget because now I've got to pay for my bills. Like I said, I moved in completely alone. So this is when a lot of stress really started to like kick in. This set up like honestly the worst 3 months I think of my life. It was extremely difficult. Like I said, June, I didn't speak to any of my family and friends. I found it really awful. I was so isolated. I was so lonely. I was just so like, what the fuck? I was so stressed. I'm not DIY at all as well. So having to try and put up the furniture and things, I realised I couldn't do it. Like I physically couldn't. I tried and I tried and I tried and I just got so frustrated and so just, I was so fed up and I just kept having issues with I had issues with washing machines and I just had so many issues and I was so stressed. Thankfully, I did take myself on a night out on the first weekend that I moved in Manchester, and that was really nice and I had a really good time. It was a nice break, but ultimately I came back to a flat alone, no family, no friends, isolated, exhausted, had to do all of this shit. July is when I had people put up a bit of furniture for me and I had really issues with that, but that's boring, don't want to talk about that. I made the decision that I actually did need family around me at this time, so I got back in touch with my dad's mum and dad. If you don't know, I've cut off all of my family at that point. I'd cut off all of them, I didn't speak to any of them. I hadn't spoken to my dad's mum and dad for 2 years and I stand on why I cut them off, and ultimately now, looking back on this, in 2026, that was the best decision that I ever made, was not only cutting them off but then getting back in touch with them, because now I think our relationship is so much stronger. So I reconnected with them and they helped me a lot, not just with bits around the house, but mainly a lot of emotional support, giving me somewhere to go, something to do, because I had no purpose. I had no purpose and nothing to do. I was unemployed, applying for jobs, on benefits, having so much issues, living off savings with getting people to put in flooring and DIY stuff and all of this. In July, I finally got my oven and my fridge, thank God, but then I had to pay someone to do the oven. July was just so much and such a stressful month for me. Even though I had family around me, I was still extremely isolated and still extremely low and down. Also in July, I thought to myself, I really want to move to America and I want to meet an American man, so I filtered my Hinge to America, New York in particular, and I actually started to speak to this guy. And he was sweet and he was nice, but ultimately I knew deep down he wasn't for me, but he was this escape for me, and he was this like escape from reality, and I became really obsessed with 2 Disney songs, Part of Your World from Little Mermaid and what's it called, When Will My Life Begin by Rapunzel, because I really related to both of those songs. Like, you know, when will my life begin? I want to be part of your world, i.e. America, or even just in Manchester as well, because I still wanted to live in Manchester. Like, I just wanted away from this small town, so isolated. Like, I wanted something more. I started to speak to this American guy sort of as a escapism and to just not think about the real world and what was happening. So I'd stay up, you know, night times on FaceTime to him. We'd talk about him flying flying over. It was unrealistic. I mean, he very well might have come, but ultimately I wasn't overly into him. We weren't best suited, our personalities, and it was never gonna work. But at that time, it made me realise how low I was to be using somebody else as an escapism and a made-up reality of wanting to move to America, and I still do, and I still would like to, but at that time it was so unrealistic, and I just had nothing going for me. I felt like, you know, if I maybe speak to an American, I might have something to look forward to, and I looked into this heavily. I looked into the green card process, I looked into all the in-depth stuff. So yeah, I started speaking to an American boy. August rolls around and we're still in the trenches with our mental health, but I had my hair done. I hadn't had my hair done since February 2024, so well over a year, and saying that, I haven't had my hair cut since, so I should probably do that, because I also get it dyed as well. For those who don't know, I get it dyed like a copper colour. I'm pretty sure August is the month where I was like, no to the American boy, like this isn't gonna work, this is just unrealistic. I'm glad that I ended things. Like I said, I don't think we'd still be speaking now anyway. Something would have happened. I wish him well, and I don't know what his reason was for talking to someone from the UK, but probably similar reasoning to mine, a bit of escapism, a bit of unreality. Not saying that long distance relationships can't work, but they tend to work better when you've actually met the person first in person and you have that connection. I managed to land a couple of job interviews in Manchester, however, unfortunately I didn't get them, and it was so frustrating. I was going to them and putting in a lot of effort just to be rejected, and I was like, for God's sake. I even had a job interview in my town and I didn't get that either, and I was like, for fuck's sake. I got down to the final 2 people. Another person beat me, so I hope you're happy in my job position. I didn't get the Manchester ones. My plan was to get a job in Manchester, commute and look into moving there, and if I can get a job in Manchester right now, that is the goal, but I don't plan on moving to Manchester now till the end of 2026 via a different route, but at that time, that was the route that I was taking. I also had my first casual thing with a guy as an 18-year-old. 17-year-old me was a bit of a slut, and honestly concerning looking back on it, and if I could have words with 17-year-old me, I would. But I would not like to relive this casual experience because it still traumatizes me to this day, and no. My mental health did start to improve in August with getting job interviews and having a bit of hope and showing myself, no, I can do this, I can move to Manchester and I am capable, and getting closer to my grandparents. But ultimately it was still pretty shit, because your mental health can only improve so much, but if your environment is shit, there is no amount of positivity that can change that. If you are isolated, I'm an extrovert social butterfly, I had no friends, I had no opportunities to meet friends. How was I going to be happy in that situation? You know what I mean? No purpose, no friends, barely any family. I was never going to be happy, and my mental health was never going to improve. It could get a little bit better, but it was always going to be baseline shit. Now in comes September, and this was probably the most important month of my life. You know, the first half of the month was shit. Up until September, there'd been a lot of change. There'd been a rapid decline in my mental health. The start of September, I had a job interview, didn't get it. However, I started to post on TikTok a little more than I was the previous months. I was still posting on TikTok, but in September I was like, no, I'm going to post a lot more now and a lot more violently. It's sort of giving me something to do. It's helping me fill this emptiness in my life. So I did, and I did, and I did. And then one day I filmed a little video about a food shop video that most of you have probably seen. And if you have, don't watch it. It's cringe. I'm not the person you're seeing now and speaking now. I don't even recognize the person in that video. I'm so different, even though it was 4 months ago. And it just blew up. And I all of a sudden was gaining rapid amount of followers. I'd gained 50k in 2 weeks, and this was crazy because this food shop video I'd filmed, and I was like, this is gonna flop, like I'm gonna have to delete this. No babe, you're not, because look what it gave you. To set the scene, I was on 1,289 followers before this. That is insane to go from that to 50k in 2 weeks. That's insane. Imagine 50,000 people in a room. Like, what? When my video started to blow up, I decided to go live. It wasn't strategically done. I just did it because I was bored, and I thought, well, some people might actually join, so I might, you know, have someone to chat to, whatever. Hundreds of people joined, and I was like, whoa, and everyone was asking me all these questions. People were asking me, when's your next video going to be? When's your next live stream? And I was like, holy shit, I am officially filming videos and content now for people who are willing to watch. It's no longer for me and as a hobby. It's more than that now. I've got expectations and people who want to watch my content. That felt really amazing and so overwhelming at the time. It did consume me at first. It was my whole personality at some point. It was all I could think about, all I could do, because it just gave me such a purpose at that time. You've got to remember, for the whole of 2025, I had no purpose. I had nothing going for me, essentially. So this coming in September just absolutely consumed me. It gave my mental health such a boost. Obviously at that time I said my mental health was terrible, and September really turned my mental health around, because like I said, it gave me something to do and some purpose in a world where I was like, shit, like what am I actually amounting to here? What am I doing? I genuinely cannot thank everyone who gave me a chance, who followed me when I was at 1,800 followers, gave me a chance and said, no, I'm going to follow you and give you a chance. Thank you so much, because without you and without that happening in September, I don't know how the rest of 2025 would have gone, but I imagine not very nicely. I met Katie, who I mentioned before, who was a support worker, for a coffee. We had a little chat and a catch up. We haven't saw each other since, and I do need to message her and say, girl, let's get something sorted. We were meant to meet in like December, but busy schedules. We definitely need to get something booked, but that was really nice to see her. And at the time I was just starting to blow up on TikTok, so I think when I met her I'd hit like 20k followers, and that was mental. We were like, oh my god, like how mad is this? Like how just crazy is it? Holy shit, I need a drink. I'm talking so much, my throat hurts. Oh, I smell so good. Do you know when you smell so good? Such off topic. You know when you smell so good with perfume? Oh, the smell's still there as well. And I smoke, so that's crazy. Also in September, I started to speak to another influencer who you may or may not know. She's called Skylar Rose Firth. She has like 600k on TikTok, I believe, currently. At the time, she had 500. No, she had 400 something, actually. So she's grown insanely as well. But we'll get more onto her a bit later. October rolls around and I am officially classed as self-employed. I register myself with Universal Credit as self-employed, which was insane to me. Obviously, at the time, I'd been living off £316 a month, which is not a lot of money at all. Sorry, I need to take my shoes off. If you wonder why I'm in a dress, by the way, I've just come back from a date. Also, these are not, I'm not flashing anybody. These are actually fleece line tights. They're not my real legs, believe it or not. They're so comfy and they keep you so warm. What the fuck was I saying? So having this extra income with social media was so good, actually. And to even just say that I'm self-employed when at the time I was just unemployed, nowhere with jobs, just unemployed. It was just such a nice moment for me. And I was like, holy shit, like this could be something, social media, like in the long term, in longevity of it, this could turn into something really good, even a full-time career. This could be the making of me. This could be the beginning of something really good. I also did go on 2 nights out as well, which is something I hadn't done since June, and that was really fun actually, and something that I really needed at that time. Live streamed it all as well and took people with me. I had great nights. Not really else much to say about October. I just continued to post and continued to grow my social media, and that's it. Moving on to November. Now this is the month where me and Skylar actually met in person. So we'd been FaceTiming and calling and texting for the past months that we'd met. We decided to meet and do a bit of like a collab where she'd come and we'd film a lot of videos. Let me show you what an unemployed 18-year-old who lives alone buys on a food shop while her friend stays over. She wasn't just coming for the collab, she was also coming as a friend. I feel like we could both accept that this is mutually beneficial for us both, because she has a big platform, however my audience and her audience are very different. So we both benefited from the collab, me much more than her, and I'll hold my hands up and admit that, absolutely. But ultimately she came as a friend and a fellow creator, and we had a really good time. However, I did get ill and then it ruined the whole experience. So everyone, I am currently dying. Horrible. However, expect a collab very, very soon, and expect a shit ton more content this time. I also hit 80k on TikTok as well, which also insane. And that's pretty much it. Nothing too exciting happened in November. I did go on another night out as well, where nights out sort of became like a once a month thing now. December rolls around. We're in the final month of 2025. Thank God. Continue to post on social media. Spent Christmas at my dad's mum and dad's, which was really nice. The past Christmas I spent it with a support worker, and it was just like, it wasn't a support worker that I was like really, really, really close with, but I cooked us Christmas dinner and watched the Gavin and Stacey Christmas special. But 2025 Christmas was so good, and I'm so grateful to have my grandparents back in my life, because like I said, we've got such a stronger relationship now than we did. I'm a big cutter offer as a person, absolutely. Time apart really does just work well, and some people don't deserve your time. So I'm a big cutter offer, I'm a big boundary setter. I always have been, I always will be, and I will stand on business. I did make a new friend in December. It was someone who I used to work with, and then we did go out on New Year's Eve. It was nice to go out with someone on New Year's Eve and not go out on a so long night out. However, we don't speak anymore. I'm not going to go into too much detail about it, and it's irrelevant. This is a 2025 recap, but all I'll say is that very uncompatible as friends. Yeah, me and her spent New Year's Eve together. The clock strikes midnight.
6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Happy New Year!
And 2025 is officially over. Woo! Thank God. What a shit year. You could not pay me to relive that year. So a little summary. I ended the year with 89,000. I did have a 100k goal, but ultimately I'm very grateful that I had 89,000 anyway. I literally had an end of the year goal in September for TikTok for 2,000 followers. I'm hoping to get to 2,000 followers by New Year's Eve. Babe, you've over exceeded that by miles. Miles. I can categorically say that on the 10th of February, today, which is today's date, God knows when this video is going to be out, and I'm so sorry, I'm so unreliable. My mental health is in such a better place. Such a better place. It's insane. I can only thank you girlies for that, because you really pulled me out of a dark space. This is the first time that I've really talked about, you know, what dark place I was at before social media, and it was nice to get off my chest and just, you know, really thank you, because I feel like I was thanking you, but people didn't really understand the weight to my gratefulness and thankfulness, because you really did probably save my life at that point, honestly. Oh, I had in my notes in the summary that I went from 0 friends to having 2. We're at a 1 count now. Hopefully 2026 brings plenty more friends to come. So what's next? I absolutely plan on doing a lot more YouTube videos this year. I have been so slacking with it and so lazy with it. Next video is ideally going to be a 2026 vision board. I'm going to sit on the sofa, maybe have a glass of wine. I'm going to get like a little, whatever they're called, you know, the big like square, rectangular, whatever, the little pin board things, and I'm gonna order some free prints, and I'm gonna just make a vision board. And I've got a couple of YouTube video ideas planned as well. Exciting things coming to YouTube, and of course I'm gonna still keep posting on other platforms as well, like TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and keep growing on them as well. All of that said, I just want to again thank you. I know, oh shut up, stop thanking us, but really appreciate the platform that you all have given me, and I promise to use it wisely, respectfully, and hopefully not get cancelled ever. Thanks for watching, lovelies, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye bye.